Hello. My name is Pat, and I am here to tell you about what was Great Zimbabwe.
The monument, which first began to be constructed in the 11th century and which continued to be built until the 14th century, spanned an area of 722 hectares, 1784 acres, and at its peak could have housed up to 18,000 people.
The monument, which first began to be constructed in the 11th century and which continued to be built until the 14th century, spanned an area of 722 hectares, 1784 acres, and at its peak could have housed up to 18,000 people. Construction of the stone buildings started in the 11th century and continuing for over 300 years. The ruins at Great Zimbabwe are some of the oldest and largest structures located in southern Africa, and are the second oldest after nearby Mapunjabi in South Africa. Its most formidable edifice, commonly referred to as the Great Enclosure, has walls as high as 36 feet, 11 meters, extending approximately 820 feet, 250 meters, making it the largest ancient structure south of the Sahara Desert. David Beach believes that the city and its state, the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, flourished from 1200 to 1500, although a somewhat earlier date for its demise is implied by a description transmitted in the early 1500s to Judah Barrows. Its growth has been linked to the decline of Mapunjabi from around 1300, due to climatic change or the greater availability of gold in the hinterland of Great Zimbabwe. At its peak, estimates are that Great Zimbabwe had as many as 18,000 inhabitants. The ruins that survive are built entirely of stone.
The ruins span 1,800 acres, 7 kilometers, and cover a radius of 100 to 200 miles, 160 to 320 km.
Great Zimbabwe acted as a royal palace for the Zimbabwean monarch and would have been used as the seat of their political power. One of its most prominent features were its walls, some of which were over 5 meters high and which were constructed without mortar. Eventually the city was largely abandoned and fell into ruin. The most important artifacts recovered from the monument are the 8 Zimbabwe birds. These were carved from a micaceous schist, soapstone, on the tops of monoliths the height of a person. Slots in a platform in the eastern enclosure of the hill complex appear designed to hold the monoliths with the Zimbabwe birds, but as they were not found in situ it cannot be determined which monolith and bird were where. Other artifacts include soapstone figurines, pottery, iron gongs, elaborately worked ivory, iron and copper wire, iron hose, bronze spearheads, copper ingots and crucibles and gold beads, bracelets, pendants and sheaths. Archaeological evidence suggests that Great Zimbabwe became a center for trading, with artifacts suggesting that the city formed part of a trade network linked to Kilwa and extending as far as China. This international trade was mainly in gold and ivory. Some estimates indicate that more than 20 million ounces of gold were extracted from the ground. That international commerce was in addition to the local agricultural trade, in which cattle were especially important. The large cattle herd that supplied the city moved seasonally and was managed by the court. Chinese pottery shards, coins from Arabia, glass beads and other non-local items have been excavated at Zimbabwe. Despite these strong international trade links, there is no evidence to suggest exchange of architectural concepts between Great Zimbabwe and centers such as Kilwa. Causes for the decline and ultimate abandonment of the site have been suggested as due to a decline in trade compared to sites further north, political instability and famine and water shortages induced by climatic change. The Mutapa state arose in the 15th century from the northward expansion of the Great Zimbabwe tradition, having been founded by Nyatsimba Mutata from Great Zimbabwe, after he was sent to find new sources of salt in the north. Great Zimbabwe also predates the Kami and Nyanga cultures. More recent archaeological work has been carried out by Peter Garlake, who has produced the comprehensive descriptions of the site, David Beach and Thomas Huffman, who have worked on the chronology and development of Great Zimbabwe, and Gilbert P. Whiti, who has published extensively on trade links. Today, the most recent consensus appears to attribute the construction of Great Zimbabwe to the Shona people. Some evidence also suggests an early influence from the probably Venda-speaking peoples of Mapunjabi.